Thank you very much, first of all, for having me. It's a great honor and privilege. I'm sorry I'm not being able to come to you personally because of some other engagements that were set up in Pune uh, in terms of some presiding over AGMs and so on and so forth. So I couldn't come to you, but my heart is with you, and I like to very warmly congratulate you for this great effort. MSMEs are very essential, very critical, and they play a great role. For example, as far as India is concerned, almost 30% of our GDP is generated by our MSMEs. 45% of manufacturing output actually comes from MSMEs. And 11 crore of India's population is employed by MSMEs. So they are playing a very significant role, I would say, not only the economic growth of India, but also inclusive growth of India, because you are there everywhere, in tier three cities, in villages, rural areas, and so on and so forth. So you are trying to also include the excluded of India's population. That's a very noble objective. I I must also say that times are changing because of advance of technology. The challenges are there, whether it is climate change, increasing inequality, and so on. This is a volatile world. Uncertainty prevails. You have seen the war in Ukraine affects us. What happens in Palestine, Gaza, and so on and so forth affects us. So it's a connected world. And therefore, the fact that your MSMEs does not exclude you from the disturbance and perturbations that happen in the rest of the world connected with supply chain or whatever. So there are new challenges, but also huge opportunities. I'm very happy to see that India is becoming the darling of the world. There is a new hope under our dynamic Prime Minister. You have seen there are dreams of our becoming a $5 trillion economy very soon. And also in 2047, when we complete 100 years of our independence, even reaching an economy of $30 trillion, not getting trapped in middle income economy. In fact, I was just in London for the Queen Elizabeth Prize of Engineering jury meeting. And there were juries from some 7 different countries. And during our dinner time conversation, each one of them was admiring India because we are the fastest growing economy in the world. But along with that, we bring a lot of values to the table, like the recently concluded G20 talking about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. If I put it this way, they look at it as a sort of a nation which is Santulit, Suvidya, becoming Samruddha, is Susanskrit, cultured, it is Sushasit, well-governed, and most importantly, happy. That is very important. Peace. Peace internal and peace external is very, very important. So within that, we have to see how do we support this big dream of making India one of the leading nations in the world. And I would say small and medium enterprises are going to play a great, great, great role in that. That's the first thing. The second thing is that we have seen growth. For example, over the last 6 years, there have been 110% yearly increase in the creation of jobs. MSMEs, you actually bring jobs at a far lower capital cost than what it would take to a large industry in India. Also, the important role of inclusion, like industrializing and the underdeveloped and rural areas, which actually make sure that there is a fair distribution. If I look at the statistics, December 2022, we are approximately 1.28 crore MSME, employing about 9.31 crore people, including 2.18 crore women employees. And that's a very important part. These are the data based on the latest portal of Udyam. The MSME sector generates 360 lakh jobs out of the 11 crore jobs. And the jobs mainly belong to the manufacturing sector in the rural areas, in the urban areas. And that's precisely what we want, because services are fine, but manufacturing must grow. Now, there are some subjects which are very close to my heart. The first is innovation, because the normal growth is linear, but innovation-led growth can be exponential. So I think the most important point is that how do we become innovative, more innovative? And I must say that as far as innovation is concerned, there are different ways by which people did innovation. Just on the lighter side, let me tell you, when Nirma was growing, they did innovation. Now, normally we believe that innovation means technology innovation. It is not. It is technology innovation, system delivery innovation, marketing innovation, business development innovation, process innovation, organization innovation, policy innovation, and so on. Now, for example, marketing innovation. Nirma did something which is not in the books. For example, they couldn't afford at that time Hema Malini to come, or some young actress to come and say, I use Nirma product. So what they did was they had some young people who were college going kids, for example. They would go to a shop and say, Aapke paas Nirma hai? Then he said, no. Then after half an hour or 1 hour, another young person comes. Aapke paas Nirma hai? No. After 2, 3 such people come, they say, oh my God, I must stock Nirma. Now, have you heard of a marketing innovation like this? Not doing away with spending lakhs of rupees for a 10-second advertisement. Similarly, I think when they started, there was something very interesting. Now, of course, they were very sophisticated factories. Now, when you are manufacturing a soap, there is a cover, and the soap has to be wrapped up in the cover. And as the assembly comes, you have to spot where the cover is not proper, and therefore that will create a challenge. So now the Japanese, of course, had X-rays, analyzing and online correcting and so on and so forth. They couldn't afford X-ray machine. So what did they do? They had a huge fan. So as soon as the cover is improper, it will just blow away. What I'm trying to say is that Indian mind is extremely innovative. Now, today they don't have to do that because they have grown into a big enterprise. They can afford normal marketing, which you see on television. You know, for example, in their assembly line, they are very, very sophisticated. I think the point that one is trying to make is that despite your not having resources, how do you become resourceful? How do you create innovation? I think it's the most important point. The way I look at it in terms of innovation, what are the different things we need to do? What do the government needs to do in order to promote innovation? Because innovation-led growth is going to be exponential. I was in San Francisco, and on 29 July, I gave the opening keynote address of the JMJ Excellence Award, JMJ Excellence Summit, which was created by our Garje Marathi, a fantastic group. And the title of my talk was actually creating an exponential inspirator, India as an exponential inspirator. And among many things that I said in terms of our rising exponentially, one of them was startups. And I said until 2016, we had only 476 startups. And within 5 years, we rose to 70,000, 200-fold increase. Okay. Secondly, if you look at the unicorns, as you know, is $1 billion market cap of a company. Until 2016, we are generating one unicorn per year. But in 2021, we generated one unicorn per week, almost, because it was not 52 weeks, 52 unicorns, but 44. Okay. Now, the other part was that what I found most interesting was that 50% of these unicorns came from tier 3 cities, tier 2 cities. Can you just imagine? This is democratization of it. So this is innovation in the digital space that they created. In the manufacturing space, how do we do that is the challenge. And therefore, the most important part is going to be, this is not going to be a digital world. It's not going to be a physical world. It's going to be phygital world. And in the phygital world, when we do manufacturing, we'll be using robotics, we'll be using artificial intelligence, machine learning, and so on and so forth. So the advance of these exponential technologies is something that we have to integrate. That's extremely sort of important because it is going to be digitally disrupted, uh, uh, large scale expansion like the kind that I talked about that is going to actually take place. That's a very important point. Now, what are the incentives that we should have? For example, the first is financial incentives. Because uh, as far as small and medium industries are concerned, uh, investing in research and development, innovation, technology adoption, etc., is difficult for them. So offering tax credits, low interest loans, funding schemes, specially tailored to support innovation initiatives is very important. You must have seen this budget day before yesterday, where 1 lakh crore are being reserved for industry at uh, practically zero interest rate for 50 years in order to scale up and so on and so forth. These are good developments. I remember starting a new Millennium Indian Technology Leadership Initiative in year 2000, where also we had low interest rate, not zero interest rate. Although I had proposed zero interest rate, but when it went to cabinet, it became some finite, but it was a very, very low interest rate and money to be returned only if you are successful. Can you just imagine that? In terms of startups, for example, I've been co-chairman of Maharashtra State Innovation Society. And 2018, if you see startup policy of Maharashtra, it is one of the most aggressive one. It is one of the most progressive one. And I remember arguing there that Sachin Tendulkar at the age of 15 scores a century. But because the rules don't allow and he has to wait for 10 years before he gets into test, that is nonsense. That is not correct. In the same way, to expect startups to have a 10-year record of selling is wrong because startups are startups. And therefore, we created a new scheme where we'll give work orders to these startups based on certain criteria. There was an assured framework that I had created. They have to pass through the screen and they get it. And a small startup from Pune, for example, who had these drones, you know, which could clean the liquid surfaces. PCMC gave him the contract, and he became within 3-4 years a major supplier of surveillance equipment to defense because he got that sort of opening. So I think this first part, that how do you promote sort of innovation, is very important. Then there has to be a technology adoption effort because you will not generate all the technologies yourself. It is very expensive. So technical assistance, training program, consulting services, so that SMIs can adopt and integrate advanced technologies, whether it is automation, whether it is artificial intelligence, whether it is IoT, whether it is digital manufacturing has to become key. The third and most important part, and I'm very happy that I saw what Chamber is doing, and there is some mention about your partnering with CSIR laboratories, seeing their technologies, sort of adopting them and so on. I think that is very important because we already have a base and CSIR has the mandate to serve the small and medium enterprises. And they have created so many technologies which will be helpful for rural areas. So I think your partnership with research institutions, universities, large enterprises, to leverage collective expertise, resources, and networks are very, very important. The other point is that size matters, and therefore, on your own, you can't grow. And therefore, this idea of innovation clusters and hubs, where you all come together and complement each other, becomes important. Then, what happens is that with these innovation clusters, technology parks, industrial zones that are specifically designed to foster collaboration, knowledge sharing, then networking among SMIs yourself, and then that becomes critical. And then the government can provide infrastructure, facilities, support services to facilitate innovation. I think the point is, what you can't do alone, you can do together, all right, with the government support and encouragement. The other thing that you require is, of course, access to market information, market intelligence, trend analysis. That's very important. Not what it is today, but what it will be next year and the following year, you know. And you require insights, so as to say. And these insights are available today because of lots of technology developments. Uh, Very important. The other part where I've been champion, as you know, of patenting intellectual property rights. So raising the awareness about importance of intellectual property protection and providing support for SMIs for securing patents, trademarks, copyrights, other IP rights is very important. I chair the CII Intellectual Property Right National Awards. This is the 9th year. And we have a large sort of scale manufacturing, medium, and also small. And I'm very happy to see some of the small and medium enterprises coming out with very good IP portfolio. And that has to be sort of encouraged. I think what is going to happen is that jobs of tomorrow will depend upon the new technologies and the way they are disrupting. I mean, look at banking. I used to write a check for you and then used to put it in the bank. Then three clerks will examine it, and after 5 days, you will get the return. Today, it is your mobile and my mobile. It takes not 3 minutes. Yeah, so sorry, 3 days, but 3 minutes in which you finish a transaction even sooner. So all intermediate jobs are gone. So similarly, as generative AI, robotics, etc., starts coming in, those jobs will go, but new jobs will come, and you must be aware of what those new jobs are. And there must be skill building and training, and offering uh, workshops, seminars, capacity building initiatives like design thinking, in creativity, in problem solving, in entrepreneurial skills, and particularly in the new era where technologies, I mean, digital. There also, I'm very great champion of open innovation platforms, you know, where we can create hackathons, ideation sessions to crowdsource ideas, solutions, feedback from employees, customers. That's very important. We don't realize that our customers, because they use a product, they have better knowledge about the difficulty that they face. So what are the mechanisms for feedback? Or employees, for example, because they are on the job all the time. And so how do you get them engaged? And today, because of the digital media, you don't have to have formal meetings. It is 24 into 7. You create a platform on which people can exchange ideas at a very, very low cost. You know, mobile internet now is available, and thanks to Jio, 4 rupees per GB, voice free, we are the most affordable in the world. Previously, that was not the case. Cloud storage, so data is stored in cloud. Open source software, etc., is available. So making use of that. Then other important part from the government point of view is government procurement policies, because small and medium enterprises do have this difficulty. So I think as far as I can see, the government must sort of give emphasis on prioritizing innovation, sustainability, because climate change is here. We can't be creating carbon footprint. And also, from point of view of inclusion, social impact, giving preference to SMI that demonstrate innovative capabilities and offer novel solutions to address the current societal challenges that we have, and the government must give it a priority. And I believe, so I've given you 10 points. So if this 10-point agenda is implemented, I'm quite sure that implementing these ideas, then policymakers, uh, then industry associations, chamber like ours, support organizations can create an enabling environment that empowers SMIs to innovate, complete, and thrive in the global marketplace. I must also recognize that the government has done quite a lot in terms of creating things. Like, for example, in terms of financial support that I mentioned, we do have the Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for micro and small enterprises, and that provides guarantees to banks, financial institutions, to SMEs, making credit more accessible. It is already there. Then Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, for example, it offers loans to micro enterprises through designated institutions like scheduled commercial banks, regional rural banks, small finance banks, microfinance institutions. So government has tried to be helpful. I talked about subsidies and tax benefits. So the MSME Development Act 2006 provides tax benefits like lower income tax, capital gains exemptions. Then there is this credit linked capital subsidy scheme that offers capital subsidies on loans from banks for technological upgradation and modernization. That's extremely important. We need to do that. And public procurement, as I said, 25% of government purchases are reserved for MSMEs and so on. But there have to be other support systems like infrastructure development, Indian clusters, skill development, as I said, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas, or MSMEs, this tool rooms office offers facilities and trainings for design, fabrication, etc., and market access and promotion, trade fairs, exhibitions you take part, and regulatory issues that single window clearance system facility is not exactly working in the way that it was designed. There is some long way to go. And as far as compliance specification, all these are concerned. So I think these are very good sort of developments. In the new budget also, I saw some very encouraging signs on government wanting to do better. So I think as a optimist, always people call me a Texas optimist. I feel a very, very bright future. And I'm glad you started this chamber 3 years ago, and this is your 4th year. But you have the advantage of coming in at the right time, because India is on the growth path. It is on the exponential path, you know, and to ride on that exponential path, not while there is a recession, there's a depression, there is a COVID, where you were the worst hit. That is all gone, all right? And there is a no new hope, let us say, a century of hope as far as India is concerned. And I wish you all the best for this wonderful, wonderful initiative that you've taken. I hope one of these days I'll be personally able to meet the members, and over a cup of tea, maybe we can dream big and achieve big, because aspirations are all possibilities. If we aim at Everest, we'll reach at least Kanchenjunga. But if we aim at Kanchenjunga, we might go to Hanuman Tekdi. But if we aim at Hanuman Tekdi, we'll remain where we are. So keep your aspirations high. There's no substitute to hard work. I'm 82. I work hard 24/7, day after day, week after week, month after year. So I think we have to work very, very sort of hard, because this is the time, as a matter of fact, for all of us to work hard, and also the new environment that is coming up for support young people. That's why I said about startups, for example. We are not only the fastest growing, but the kind of impact we are making is actually phenomenal. And the new generation that is coming up, they have that aspiration. Let me end by telling you a story. I interact with young people. You should be aware of the young generation. And I was telling them one day, look at Satya Nadella, look at Sundar Pichai. Where do they go? I mean, where did they start and where did they go? Basically, they are now, CEOs of biggest companies, two biggest companies in the world. And you should become like that. And one young fellow got up and said, "Sir, you got it all wrong." So I was wondering, what does he mean by you got it all wrong? So he says, "Sir, you, your generation, your only idea was to go to US somehow. Next generation, not only go to US, but get a good job in a company like Microsoft. And the next generation, not only go to US, get into Microsoft, but also become the CEO. That is not our idea. Our idea is to create our own Microsofts, our own Google here. All right. Of course, we are talking about a different word, services, but I can say the same thing about manufacturing and other jobs. So I think keeping our aspirations high will also help us achieve the dream. And as I said, you have 30% of country's GDP is sort of owed to you. That 30 can become 40, 50%, provided that enabling environment comes. And it is not only coming, it is right here for you. The idea would be growth, not just growth, inclusive growth, and not just inclusive growth, accelerated inclusive growth. Like I say, leapfrogging to pole vaulting. Bedu kudite Hanuman. धन्यवाद.